The Poisonous Love Triangle, Part 2. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor, helping you understand how many things that you read about and see on your news involve narcissists when you might not realize that's actually the case. Here we have an instance where a dentist narcissist is involved in a love triangle involving his devalued, now deceased, former intimate partner primary source and his lover, an intimate partner secondary source of the shelf variety, or potentially a dirty little secret. Let's now dive into the detail to find out what we learn with regard to this narcissist in action. A Colorado dentist charged with murdering his wife with poison-laced protein shakes sent her text messages, hoovering, in hospital, inquiring about her condition and professing his love, false compassion, flattery. James Craig, 45, was arrested in Aurora, Colorado on Sunday. He is accused of poisoning his wife Angela with potassium cyanide while conducting an affair, absence of emotional empathy, sense of entitlement, triangulation, with an orthodontist in Texas. According to police records, Angela started feeling unwell after drinking a shake that her husband made for her on March 6th. Over the next 10 days, she visited the hospital 3 times, complaining of nausea and dizziness, but doctors couldn't determine what was causing her illness. On March 15th, her brother took her to the hospital again. She had a seizure soon afterwards and lost brain function. Craig's mistress, an orthodontist in Texas, flew to Colorado to be with him between March the 8th to March the 10th, while his wife was in hospital. This, of course, is demonstrative of the way that he compartmentalizes and that he sees nothing wrong with bringing in a person who he's having an affair with while his wife is lying in hospital. Now he is charged with premeditated murder. Disturbing text messages contained within his arrest affidavit reveal how he'd once drugged his wife before, lack of emotional empathy, assertion of manipulation, and that she was suspicious of him as her health deteriorated. "Are you nauseous?" he asked his wife. "No, I feel drugged," she replied. "Given our history, I know that must be triggering. Just for the record, I didn't drug you. I'm super worried, though. You looked really pale before I left." Denial, assertion of control, nullification of potential threat to control, false compassion. Prosecutors allege that Craig first gave his wife the poison on March 6th in a shake he mixed before their workout. According to the charging documents, Craig had researched poison on his office computer. Search terms included: how many grams of pure arsenic will kill a human? Is arsenic detectable in autopsy? Top 5 undetectable poisons that show no signs of foul play. How to make poison. And the top 10 deadliest plants. They can kill you. Of course, this is demonstrative of a schoolboy error there, that in the moment, in order to assert control over her, his narcissism drove him to seek out ways to poison her. Although this has a degree of planning, it's actually not to the extent that, for instance, the way that a grater would go about it, because, of course, it's left him exposed with evidence that's likely to convict him. The fact is that in that moment, we call it moment A, there was a threat to control. And therefore, in order to nullify that threat to control, his narcissism selected, we need to poison the wife, the intimate partner primary source. In order to do that, it caused him to go and look things up as part of the preparatory work to assert control within that particular moment. And in so doing, of course, he created a collateral consequence of evidence which is now going to be used against him. This is something that I regularly explain to you, as it is important for you to look out for when you might be dealing with a narcissist in court proceedings. Invariably, when you're dealing with lesser and mid-range narcissists, they will always create an evidential trail which you can then use and acquire to place within the court to your advantage. The article continues. When Angela Craig began complaining of feeling ill, her husband expressed concern and sent repeated declarations of love, flattery, false compassion. At one point he apologised, false contrition, for not bringing her flowers in bed, and said he was looking forward to her returning home and to the marital bed. "I love you. It was so nice hanging out with you and just watching a show and snuggling," he wrote on March the 7th, the day after he allegedly administered the poison. Note how his narcissism enables him to compartmentalise so that he can administer poison to assert control over her by committing that act, and then, in another moment, through compartmentalisation, say that he loves her and, of course, that he's looking forward to her coming home. He tells her, "I'm planning on coming home to eat lunch with you, though. I'll need to ask you what you're hungry for and bring it to you. I'm kind of feeling just a smoothie or something." She tells him she's not hungry. While she wrestles with her nausea, headaches, exhaustion and vomiting, Craig texts her repeatedly, hoovering assertion of control, telling her he loves her and he wants her to recover. "I'm going to trust that you are just sleeping and not dead somewhere," he says at one point, when she fails to reply to his text. That will have wounded him, necessitating his response. He says he is heading home to make you some dinner. On March the 9th, Angela is in hospital. As her symptoms worsen, Craig texts his wife, "Man, baby, you've got to stop scaring me like this." Notice how he makes it all about him. She's the one that's in hospital with nausea, headaches, exhaustion and vomiting, but it's about him being scared. Typical behaviour of the narcissist to draw the attention back onto him. "I love you so much, and I'm not used to all of this excitement." Notice also the disconnect there of the way that his narcissism is functioning, that he refers to the fact that his wife is very seriously ill in hospital as exciting. At the same time, prosecutors say Craig's mistress was visiting him, having flown in from Austin, Texas. Intimate partner, secondary source of a shelf variety. On March the 10th, with his mistress still in town, Craig texts his wife, "I wish I could have stayed longer. I love you, and I'm so glad you seem to be doing better." False compassion, compartmentalisation. On March the 11th, he tells his wife, "I just work up," I think it means wake up. "I just wake up dreaming about making love to you. I love you and I want you." As she is discharged, he tells her, "I can't wait to see you at home in my bed tomorrow." She says she needs to stop vomiting before she can think about sex. Notice again the manner by which he has no due regard for her, that he's thinking about having sex with her without any emotional empathy for the fact that she's seriously unwell. Craig is meanwhile ordering more poison, with the delivery of cyanide dispatched on March the 13th. On March the 14th, she returned home and accused her husband of trying to poison her, he told a confidant. Him, of course, mentioning that to a confidant is the indirect assertion of control. His wife accuses him of poisoning her. That is a threat to his control. He's not been able to nullify that directly, so he complains about her to a friend, basically smearing her, which is an indirect assertion of control. James told her when Angela was discharged, she made accusations that James had poisoned her, the charging documents state. Angela said something to James along the lines of, "There are poisons they don't test for." Back home, her condition dramatically worsened, and she was readmitted on March the 15th, suffering a seizure and never regaining consciousness. On March the 16th, with Angela's condition worsening, his mistress emails him saying she wants to comfort him, but does not want to be there and conceal what I feel for you. "I am sorry I'm not a part of your world to be of more help to you, and instead I'm pulling you away," she wrote. "This is so hard. I want to be and do whatever I can to support and encourage you, and I don't want to add to what has become an incredibly difficult time." So it's clear that the affair partner knows that he's married and knows that his wife is unwell. It's unlikely the case that she knows that he's poisoning her, although there's a possibility, it might be that she is complicit. Or it may be the case, which is more typical, that he's basically saying, "Oh dear, my wife is ill, this is really difficult," and doles out a pity play to his affair partner. "I do want to give you any comfort I can, but I do not feel it is right for me to mix in with those gathering to mourn Angela either, and I do not want to meet your family as a friend and conceal what I feel for you," wrote the mistress. Craig was reported to the authorities by one of his co-workers, who was suspicious about his behaviour and the poison deliveries. He refused to conduct an autopsy on his wife, despite pleas from concerned friends who were worried the cause of death could be genetic and passed on to the children. The affidavit said Craig planned to end his wife's life by searching for ways to kill someone undetected, providing her poisons that align with the hospitalised symptoms, and working on starting a new life with his lover. So it might be the case that the affair partner as the intimate partner secondary source was going to be promoted to intimate partner primary source. The dentist allegedly ordered the arsenic online on February the 27th and received a package at home on March the 4th. Craig's second package arrived at work on March 13th, and when an employee opened the box, she found a biohazard sticker and a canister marked potassium cyanide. She googled the chemical compound and realised the symptoms of cyanide poisoning were similar to the symptoms that Angela was experiencing. When the employee heard Angela had been readmitted to hospital on March 15th, she told Craig's business partner about her shock discovery. He then told a nurse during a visit to check up on her. The nurse called police and her death was investigated by a major crimes homicide unit, detectives who determined she was poisoned. As a mandatory reporter, the nurse called the police and an investigation ensued, the affidavit states. Craig told investigators that his wife had been intentionally overdosing on opioids since he'd asked for a divorce in December 2022. Smearing, revision of history. Police raided his home and business, seizing protein powders, shakers, a computer tablet, phones and 2 Ziploc bags with powdery substances. A data analysis of his devices revealed the chilling searches he had conducted online, including a $13 Amazon order for arsenic metal 99.99999% crystalline metalloid 10 grams for element collection. When police combed through his email account, jimandwaffles@gmail.com, they found additional purchases of poison, according to the affidavit. Craig and his practice, Summerbrook Dental, filed for bankruptcy protection in 2021, according to court records. This might show, of course, financial haphazardness, which is demonstrative of a lack of accountability. The couple had been married for more than 20 years and were parents to 6 children, 5 girls and a boy, aged 8 to 20. In a 2021 press release, Craig described himself as happily married to Angela, Facade Management, Relationship Bulletin. The release went on to say that the pair have 6 children and they all enjoy the outdoors, especially camping, snowboarding, fishing, hiking, rock climbing and mountain climbing. Plenty of information there, which is demonstrative of a range of narcissistic indicators with regard to James Craig, but there's even more that can be unearthed about this individual, which helps you understand that this is a narcissist at work. Join me in part 3.